Portugal.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast, out with Chinese Terry and the father-in-law last night. Sounds like a great movie, doesn't it? Chinese Terry and the father-in-law. Young Benjamin joined us as well. Great evening, having a few beers in San Martino de Porto last evening. And I was the first to leave. Can you believe that? Left my father-in-law out boozing last night. He's in the area, well into his 70s, and I think he had a great night. In the company of myself and Chinese Terry last night. The wonderful, it's locally known as Zay's Bar. It's known as Prior Mar on the maps and in the guides. And when you walk past, it's a great bar here in San Martino de Porto. So thanks to those chaps. I refrained from having the bifana and the batatas fritas last night. For some reason, I think there was a lot of talk about not eating carbs, so I felt a bit self-conscious. I could have had the bifana no prato, couldn't I? Just eating chunks of meat alongside my sagresh last night. But a great evening, and thank you, Alan, father-in-law, who's in town for a few weeks, captured this shot of the bay yesterday, enjoying his time here in San Martino de Porto on the Silver Coast of Portugal, and sends me things like this. My wife told me that sex is better on holiday. Not the best postcard I've ever received. Thank you very much, Alan. See you soon. And I hope you got home safely, because I was the lightweight. Yes, I got all the banter. Have another one. No, I've got to get up and do the show in the morning. Lightweight, boo, all that sort of stuff. Not the first time I've had a public booing, of course. I hope he got home okay. Maybe you can send me a message to that effect, Alan. And if you want to take him out somewhere, not in that gangsterish way, if you want to take him out. Now, if you want a boozing buddy, I'm sure he'd be glad to indulge and join you. I'm sure he's open to all sorts of invitations for having a great time here in Portugal. Oh, he might like this parenting advice as well, which I'll share with Bobby when he joins us later on. Daddy, I want ice cream. Believe me, me too, honey, but Mummy only gave us enough money for 3 beers. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Right. Yes, talking of Bobby joining us, as he will be at around 9, it is Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. Ask or say anything about Portugal Wednesday. So your observations are very welcome. And we'll be looking at a few news stories. There's an interesting one with great comments at the Portugal News. Changes to bank transfers in Portugal. I don't know why they can't make it really simple. Why are the banks, with all their money, so the slowest to respond to how money is moved around? Unless I'm wrong about this, but there's a new development afoot here in Portugal to make it even easier to transfer money within the banking system. The old banks, that is, not the new systems like PayPal or Revolut or Wise or that sort of thing. Which company? Oh, it's Spartan FX. They're not strictly a bank, but they'll change your currency for you as well, of course. And we'll be seeing Sarah today at the Storytellers Lunch. So looking forward to that. See you soon, Sarah, from Spartan FX. Which company is best to work for in Portugal? That's a question that has been answered. Excuse me. Not entirely over those few sagresh I had last evening. Yeah, those stories in the Portugal News, and some goodies in the Portugal Resident as well. I was looking for my article. I'm especially pleased and proud of my article this week called A Vida Boa, The Good Life here in Portugal. The editor liked it. Ines liked it. I'm always delighted when she gives me a nice bit of feedback like that. I like it. She liked it. So I hope you will too. And that'll be published in the paper tomorrow. Looking at the headlines, we've got the multiplication of nationalities, a great challenge for Portuguese schools. Sounds like they're weaving in a bit of math there, doesn't it? Or mathematics. Multiplication of nationalities, a great challenge for Portuguese schools. And Lisbon attended, I beg your pardon, Lisbon hospitals attended 189 different nationalities in A&E in 2023. The doc also joining us this morning at 9:30. I suspect he'll have something to say about that. And not what Bobby said when I presented that story to him. It's probably all the different foreigners getting drunk in Lisbon. That does happen, of course, as well. So Bobby at 9, the doc at 9:30, and Astrid as well, joining us from Expats Portugal. Very important webinar tomorrow evening. So she'll be telling us about that at around 8:45 this morning. Lovely comments and a good show, jolly good show. Old chap and chapesses in the chat this morning. So let's see who's here. Let me shout out and say hi to all of you. James, definitely the viewing figures are wrong because there's more people in the chat than there are showing up. Anyway, I'm not too bothered about that. It's just irritating when it doesn't seem to add up in any possible way. There's a Bom Dia Portugal from João Ernesto, João de Norte, of course. Good to see John this morning, and good to see you last night as well on the Portugal Club call too. Bye, Randy. Oh, my parents are also having a great time. Must be the season then as well. Winsurance, good morning, Carl and all Gumpers. And some good news to share with you about Nuno Mensch from Winsurance too. Jackie's in, James is in, Mr. S, Michael Barton, Bon dia Gumpers. Quick check-in as we do some errands before heading down to San Martinho de Porto for lunch. Looking forward to seeing everyone will be at the Storytellers Palace. We've got about a dozen, maybe one or two more for the lunch today. Looking forward to that. It's going to be revolving around an AI, artificial intelligence discussion, I think, today. Should be interesting. Some of the best brains in the AI and IT business seem to have settled on the Silver Coast. So that's going to be an interesting conversation this lunchtime. I'm sure we'll have all sorts of interesting conversations and some great food as well, and that wonderful view. And the service, the wonderful service, the 5-star service at the Storytellers Palace. Coach Turner also in. So let's see what he has to say. Not seeing Deagle this morning. Shout out to you as well in Belfast this morning, Deagle. Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz carta a todos. Okay, tem feito from James at just after 8. And that's because I only just published a show just after 8. Oh, I don't think I've put on the oh, Mrs. M went to some great effort to sort out the lighting in the back of the studio here. And I thought I'd switched it on by switching on the on-air neon, but clearly I haven't. Whoops. Okay. I feel like I should go and do that at the risk of pulling the newly appointed studio apart. Let me see if I can flick this switch on so you can see this beautiful lighting that's just been set up and admire, if you will, the wonderful and simplified foliage behind me. Bear with just a minute. If I got a bit of music, I've got some intermission music I can play. I know I could do a proper trade test intermission here. So if anyone joining the show is going to think, what on earth is going on? What should we go with? Should we go with a bit of dance pop? Let's play that. Oh yeah, a bit of trade test transmission coming up for you now. And this visual as well. Well, nah, it's not the lighting I'm looking for. That's much worse, isn't it? Anyway, okay, I'll turn off the music and hope that Mrs. M here's my cry for some help with this lighting in the studio. We set it up beautifully, and now it's disappeared. All right, okay, let's get on with the show, shall we? Interesting lighting, if not the droids and the lighting I've been looking for. Mindful moment from James M. Mindfulness is a simple practice, but not an easy one. Like so many things in life, simple but not easy. But you are worth doing difficult things. Thank you for that, James. Nicole Davis. I'm going to take that very personally this morning. Thank you for that. Some visuals from you as well, which I shall download and share in due course. Mindful dad joke. Sometimes the universe puts you in the same situations again to see if you're still a dumbass. Let me know if you feel that has happened to you in the last little while. Oh, that light makes a bit of a noise as well. I hope that's not too much of a bother for you. Okay, so yes, let me know if the universe is testing you at the moment, and can we help at all? I nearly said, didn't I, when I'm talking about last night's Portugal club, that I've got a wonderful video to share with you of an interview. It was an interview clip from last night, and it's with the wonderful Sarah Krieger. Not only does she run something called Evolve, which is to help expats deal with their expat identity crisis. Oh, yes. Talked about that last night, and she'll be on the show at some point in the future as well. She also runs something really wonderful called Terrain, the middle bit from Mediterranean, and terre, of course, here in Portugal, meaning the earth. And it's a wonderful farm-to-table dining experience. So I'll play the interview. Nuno and I spoke to her yesterday evening. Right, bom dia a todos. O Doc estará aqui também. Ótimo! O programa será bem interessante. So somebody looking forward to the Doc joining us at 9:30 there. Coach Turner, I think that he likes the cut of the Doc's political jib as well. Bom dia, Gumpers. E feliz carta. Rain here in Hertfordshire. So waterproofs on for the walk to coffee. Creatures of habit, we are. Sounds a bit Yoda-esque. Let's see what his God Squad tip of the day Yoda offering is. Lie on the floor. On the floor, you lie. A loosener. I was going into my precious there. I was going into from Star Wars into Lord of the Rings, wasn't I? A loosener for the hips. Ooh. And lower back today. Lie on your back with your arms outstretched, crucifix style. Anyone with a Messiah complex is going to enjoy this one today. Then lift. I do like a bit of a Messiah complex, of course. Then lift one foot a few inches off the ground, keeping the leg straight, mind you. Swing it towards the opposite hand as far as you can go, then back again. Repeat with the other leg. Oh, so it's scissoring, a bit of scissoring going on the floor. Oh, good morning, Vicar. I can explain. Continue about 10 times either side, 10 reps on that bad boy there. So thanks very much for that, Coach Turner. So am I thinking you're swinging your leg, as it were, getting your leg over? If this is the only way you're getting your leg over this morning, shout out to you. 10 times either side. And we're swinging our leg diagonally across, are we not? From in the lying down crucifix position. After a few weeks on the road, we're taking it easy. We're doing a few God Squad exercises lying down. We're taking it lying down here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Excellent. I knew I was feeling a bit naked. Let me just put my frame back on to the screen there after that. After I rudely interrupted myself with the lighting thing. That's better. I feel like I've got clothes on again. Fantastic. Okay, so where do we get to? Yep, James, onde as tuas férias? Faço não muito to Mr. S there. Always a little bit of Portuguese in the show, worth picking up on. If you don't, instead of just ignoring it, why not translate it and come up with a little bit of a reply? I know that's specifically for Mr. S, but you can respond to in Portuguese if you like. Bon dia, Gumpers from Jackie. Morning to you, Jackie. Smash the like button. Yeah, it is raining in the UK. I think it's been nice over there, isn't it? But the rain is happening. I was going to say the rain is back. I don't want to talk about the UK like that, but it would appear it's raining in the UK, and if you hit the like button, that might stop it. Well, it's worth a try. It's worth a try, is it not? Michael, see you later on. And bye, Randy. Bon dia, Malta. Got a viewing, so time to hide all the whips and chains. Yes, well, unless you're appealing to that particular market, it could be quite a useful niche, could it not, by Randy? So by Randy's house is on the market. By Randy, stick the link to it in the chat. Let's let everybody know here on the Good Morning Portugal show. And good morning, Carl and all the Gumpers from one of the team there, I think, tuning in from Winsurance. Everybody are welcome tomorrow evening to the webinar. I think that might be next week, actually. Astrid's here to tell us all about that in just a moment. A couple days more with my brother. Today we visit Viana and environs, including the amazing Pousada on the hilltop overlooking the harbour. I will likely miss the show tomorrow. That's the best excuse for not being on the calls or on the show, is because you're enjoying Portugal. Absolutely brilliant. Glad to hear that. And do give my best, of course, to your brother. And I forget the name now of sister-in-law in Portuguese, which you shared with us the other day. But lots of love to them. I hope you have a great day tomorrow. Enjoy the meetup in SMDP today. I'll be with you in spirit, says Joanna. Please give Marco my warm greetings. And when I saw you there at the weekend, you reminded me that it was you that introduced us both, me and Marco. So thank you so much for that. Now look, John, what's occurred with that association with the Storytellers Palace in San Martino de Porto. Let's not keep her waiting. Let's give her a nice big round of applause and bring her onto the screen. Hola, bom dia, tudo bem?
Tudo bem, obrigada. Tudo bem.
How are you, Astrid? How's it going?
I'm well, Carl. How are you?
I am feeling the sun coming through the window next to me. I think it's going to be a beautiful day here in Portugal. How's it looking where you are?
It's a bit overcast.
Oh,
traffic was crazy out in the streets this morning. Was not so good.
Not the best start to the day so far. Then, okay, so okay. Well, I hope that improves, and it can't it? When you're by the sea, of course, sun can come out, and all of that mist and cloud can be evaporated very quickly. Well, I hope you have a nice day over there.
It is supposed to get better.
Okay. Yeah, and I think we have turned a corner. Jason from Quinta Esencial was saying this yesterday. He whispered it, though, just in case it's not true. But I think we have well and truly, and maybe you and I have said this before in this slot, we've put the winter behind us. It feels like that to me. I hope so.
Yes.
Yes. Right. Yes, next week. Okay, so let's start there. Winsurance webinar next week. We've got a very important one tomorrow night. Somebody from the team at Winsurance is joining us on the screen this morning here. Next week, thank you. What's happening next week? What's happening?
So this week, so Thursday, tomorrow night, we have Daniel Rees from Rees and Pelicano coming to discuss wills, especially on an international nature. So if you need to have wills across multiple countries, which law is it abide by, and how to set up an international will, and questions that people might have about that. So I think it'll be a very informative webinar, something that's not so great to talk about, but something that everybody needs to. So it will be an interesting one to come along to. Yes.
Right, and we'll be dealing with some of those pains and problems that come up when dealing with wills with Daniel Reis. Great speaker, of course, and he can turn his hand to talking about anything to do with the law here in Portugal, which will probably take place after the main webinar recording, won't it? Because one of the great things about attending those in person, of course, is after the recording's finished, people have a chance to have an audience, basically, with the speaker tomorrow, Daniel, of course. So you can ask other questions when the pause button has been pushed.
Yes, so that's where it becomes a bit more interactive, is after the recording is finished. And Daniel's great. He's so willing to share information. Like, obviously, he's a very skilled lawyer. And if you ask anyone else questions, they'll probably bill you for their time. But Daniel's very, very happy to share his time and his knowledge with our audience. So it's great.
That's reassuring. He won't be pressing the stop.
No, he doesn't charge for his advice at the webinars. That's right.
Yeah. And so how do you qualify for that? Just to remind everybody, I mean, of course, joining Expats Portugal is absolutely free of charge, and you can do that as a basic member, can't you, over there at expatsportugal.com, as you can see on your screen there, and take advantage of the forum. 15,000 plus members over there. It's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, expats forum here in Portugal. To join, to have the privilege, if you like, of being there in the lock-in after the recording on a Thursday night, what do people need to do?
So people need to join as a premium member of Expats Portugal. So it's for less than €2 a week. So very, very affordable. And that unlocks a heap of benefits, including lots of discounts from negotiated partners, access to the webinars and the behind the scenes questions that you can get some professional advice from our vetted experts. Also attendance to our social webinars that we do as well. Come along to our meetups in person. You can do some extra privileges on the site, such as private messaging and connecting with people directly. And to be launched on the 1st of June, Carl, is EP Connect. So EP Connect.
Oh, the dating bit. No, it's not.
Yes, we have a date. So EP Connect, and we can talk about this probably next week, but it's an opportunity for people to network and make friends and potentially romance. So it's all very exciting. So as a premium member, you also get access to EP Connect. So we're very excited to be launching.
Very good. And you can go another level, can't you, and get a consultation, which people find very helpful too. That's the premium member plus consultation package.
Yes, yes. So we've got amazing reviews. So Jerry is a wealth of knowledge and able to help with the consultations, and the reviews are just amazing. So everybody loves Jerry. He's almost become famous, I think. So it
Yes.
his knowledge is great, and he shares that as much as possible. And it's a really good thing whether you're already living in Portugal or you're thinking about moving here, to be able to solidify some of those questions that you've got on a more general basis.
Right, there you go. Those are the options. Join for free. Absolutely. It's like all the benefits of being on social media, but without being on social media, isn't it? In the forum there, without all the
Yes.
nonsense you can get on Facebook, for example, and the other two packages there, where you're going to get some full-on support, including a one-to-one consultation with the team there as well. So that's great. And as who is that who's over there at Winsurance this morning? Tell us about next week's, if you will. It'll be great, is what Winsurance are saying about next Thursday's webinar. What's going on?
Great. So we're going to be talking about healthcare in Portugal. So we're still working on all the minor details of what's going to be discussed. I'll be speaking with Nuno today, but pretty much we haven't done anything about the healthcare system here in Portugal for quite some time, and no one knows it better than Nuno. So I'll be able to give you a better update next week, but or keep an eye on the calendar on the website as well, because we'll be putting the information up there shortly.
Yes, and as with all health systems, I think around the world, nobody's free of this. Wherever you live in the world, it's a challenge, isn't it? Healthcare. Nuna's really good.
Understand the healthcare system too, and
Yes.
private versus public.
Yes.
Which one should you do? And of course, a lot of people who are not here yet need the private health insurance for their visa application. So it's really good to know what you're going to get for your money and how affordable it is too.
And he's really good, isn't he, at telling you which is when it's best to go private and when it's best to go public, because that's what I think many people enjoy here. It's not an enjoyment when it comes to having difficult procedures, but there is a benefit in being in Portugal with that hybrid of the public and private systems that run side by side, and no one knows them better, I would say, than Nuno, and he'll tell us all about that a week tomorrow. Yes. So Daniel Reis of Reis and Pelicano tomorrow, talking about international wills, how to make sure your will and legacy is configured in the right way so that it works when you're a resident here in Portugal, and the healthcare system with Nuno next Thursday. Anything else to share before you go this morning, Astrid?
Just the dream team sessions as per normal. Yes. We just need to work out whether there will be one next week. So tomorrow there's a dream team session, but next week, because it's a public holiday here in Portugal, we may not have any of the dream team turn up. They might be enjoying that time off. So definitely come along to tomorrow night if you've got questions for the experts. And because next week we need to find out who's going to turn up if it's a public holiday.
Well, fair enough. But what public holiday is it next Thursday? Do you know?
Oh, I'm going to have to look on my calendar.
I'm hastily looking that up as well.
Let's have a look.
Santos Populares just yet, is it? I'm having a hasty look at this. Movable 1st of May.
Let's see who gets it first.
Right. No, I can't see that, but I'm sure it'll come up before the end of the show.
Corpus Christi.
Is it Corpus Christi?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, it's movable. That's why I haven't got a date on that. Thursday, date varies, 60 days after Easter Sunday. It is religion based. Well, I think we could have guessed that. Thank you very much, Wikipedia. And it will be observed on the 30th of May, 2024. Okay, so that's a nice heads up. It's always good to know when there's a public holiday, because if you're planning to go somewhere important and bureaucratic, don't be doing that on the 30th of May. Very important, very interesting points to listen to. And that's Milene, who I haven't met yet, I don't think, at Winsurance there, who's on the screen with us this morning. Fantastic. Astrid, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Have a great day there over there in your part of Portugal this morning, and we'll see you soon. I'll see you tomorrow evening. Take care.
Thank you. Okay, see you then. Bye-bye.
All right, there goes Astrid. I think fingers crossed for a beautiful day here. That any mist over the sea is going to clear. We're going to have a fabulous day today. We've got Bobby joining us at 9. He'll be with us in a little while, and we've got the doc joining us at 9:30. And look, Morning. From the Global Nobles, good morning to you. Good to see you. And Paul Richards. Did I see Paul come in as well at the back of the room? Thank you very much for that beautiful image you sent me yesterday that Mrs. M and I enjoyed greatly. Thank you, Paul. Greetings from a sunny and warm Algarve. 24 degrees C today. Very good, Paul. Alvor. What's happening here? Mr. S. Alvor. Okay, you've been asked yes, onde estás? No Algarve. Paul, you see, you understood that without your time kettle or whatever it is you've got in your ear there. And yes, Alvor is where Paul is. I was there a few days ago, says Mr. S. Well, come on, Mr. S, give us a review of these places you've been to. It is Ask Anything, Say Anything about Portugal Wednesday. It would be great to hear from you and what you're thinking so far with these various places that you visit. Don't be shy. Oh, on the matter of sister-in-laws, brother-in-laws, we've got cuñada, cuñado, a sogra, sogro. That's the mother-in-law, father-in-law. A sogra. That doesn't sound so nice, does it? And can you see this? There's a mother-in-law theme going on. I've got mother-in-law's tongue behind me. That's what that plant's called. So much easier to write than all those bloody hyphens, says. Oh, yeah, true. So there you go. A bit of vocabulary for you. Cuñada, cuñado, sogra, sogro. Thank you very much for that, John. Much appreciated. We love every bit of vocabulary we can get our eyes, ears, and minds on. And thank you for that feedback, Milene, as well. Tell us a bit more about yourself, Milene. What do you do over there? It's great to see that you are joining us before 9 o'clock, before work starts even, I would say. You're joining us on the screen here. Milene is a Portuguese representative over at Winsurance. There you go. Thank you very much for joining us. Right, James, your memes that you sent through to me, I'm aware suddenly that I haven't downloaded those. Oh, my goodness as well. I'm just looking over at the picture deck. If you want to send me something, you know the number, don't you, by now? Let me see if you do. See if you can remember the number. Not quite. 913-590-303. Two beautiful images in from Paul Richards and from James as well. Let me just pop those onto the screen. Thank you very much. That number again, 913-590-303 for anything that you want to send into me on WhatsApp. Into me. They've all sent it into me. That's the, I've got the father-in-law's picture of San Martino de Porto. I'll show you that again. He's in the bay. Took that picture yesterday. Beautiful. That's the view we'll be having at lunchtime. Hopefully it'll be less cloudy than that. Be some bright sunshine, hopefully, at 1 o'clock today. Let's pop down to the Algarve then. Beautiful picture there from Paul. Thank you very much, Paul. And I think you've been working with Dave Sheldrake, haven't you? Ali Sheldrake's husband, of course. And look at that. Forgive me, James, but I need to take your comment off the screen. And Milene, by the way, is Brazilian and new here representing Winsurance. Good to see you, Milene. Desculpa, Milene, says James. I was making assumptions again. Makes an ass of you and me, James. You know that. And obrigada pela receptividade. You're most welcome here. But look at that picture. It's kind of biblical, isn't it? Over the you don't want to be following that star, though, because you'll end up pretty soggy and wet out in the sea there. But that's a beautiful picture. Thank you very much for that, Paul, or Paulo Ricardos, as we like to call you here. If you haven't given yourself a name, I'm just thinking Bobby O'Reilly. I'm not sure there is a Portuguese equivalent for Bobby O'Reilly. He'll put me right on that, I'm sure, if there is. I was watching a documentary last night about frogs. I was watching a documentary about frogs last night. I found it riveting. Oh dear. Welcome, Bobby. Shouldn't be too difficult to build on that. When you think about how huge the Earth is and how the Earth is just a tiny ball. Mindful meme. When you think about how huge the Earth is and how the Earth is just a tiny ball orbiting the sun. Who doesn't like a tiny ball first thing in the morning? Orbiting the sun, which in turn is a minuscule speck in the universe. It's pretty easy to rationalize eating an entire pie or packet of biscuits. Put in there what you will. Let's give him a big round of applause and welcome him to the screen. Bobby O'Reilly, everybody. Morning.
Yeah.
How are you?
Morning.
That was reassuring, wasn't it? If you ever need to eat the whole pie, there's your reason. We're just tiny specks in the universe. Talking of which, you're a bit of a tiny speck yourself, aren't you, with all this fitness and weight loss you've been doing?
Yeah, well, I'm working on it still. Bit to go.
Right. Did you want to give us an update on that? Because I'm chunking up again. All the good work I did last year, I'm feeling this is one of my smallest shirts, and I'm really feeling it this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's how I judge it, actually, is by what size shirt I have or whatever. So, and then I used to do the shirt test. Used to have to sit down and see would the buttons stay in without sort of taking someone's eye out, you know. So, but now I'm.
That's what they're flying across the restaurant.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
So,
But it sounds like it's going well, Bobby.
Yeah. I'm just I've done 14 kilos gone.
Well done.
So, yeah.
14 kilos.
Yeah.
That's like 30 pounds, isn't it?
Oh God, it was a lot of money.
I bet, because it was quite an investment in the first place, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to get rid of it.
Not and a lot of money to get rid of it as well. Blimey. Okay, well that's sterling work and a fairly straightforward regime, right? You're not doing anything too complicated, right? You're getting on with the basics.
Less, just know what you're eating and less of, and then a little bit of walking. I'm not like going bananas with like exercise and stuff. My knees don't allow me. So,
right.
Yeah, a little bit of walking. That's it, really.
Yeah.
About 4 or 5 kilometers every day.
Well, how many steps is that approximately?
Well, I always do over the 10,000. So it can, like, it tells you that you've done like 8 or 9 kilometers or whatever it is. But you know what I mean? Like, I do a walk, which is 2 kilometers twice a day, which is 4 kilometers. And then everything else is just in between.
Yes.
So it's always over 10, 12, 11,000, 12,000 sometimes. So, but that's without doing anything strenuous, if you know what I mean. So.
Well, you say that. I mean,
pretty straightforward.
But you say you're not going bananas. I mean, that would be quite a lot of walking for some people. I suppose it's just good to build it up and enjoy it. I mean, I imagine you're going somewhere where you're enjoying the view, you're enjoying being out with the dogs. It's very important, isn't it, to enjoy that?
Yeah, no, we go. Myself and my wife go. We have 2 dogs, and we basically walk them around the golf course every morning. So before the kids get to school and that, then in the evenings do it again, and it's beautiful. Like the sunrise and then the sunset. So it's lovely. Like it's a beautiful place to.
And a chance to clear your head as well of all the things that are, all the many things that are on your mind, I'm sure.
Yeah, and a bit of a chat as well, where you have 5 minutes without the phone as well. You know, so it's nice.
Very good, very good. Glad to hear it. Excellent. So we've got good morning from Christina C. Aviva popped in as well earlier on. Sorry, I didn't acknowledge you earlier on. Aviva is here from Madeira. It's all about the food for weight loss, says Ocean Dweller. Yeah, I know. Look at me. I'm talking to Bobby about weight loss. I've got a packet of Maria biscuits on the desk. I was a bit pushed this morning, and I needed something in my belly, cup of tea, a few Maria biscuits, and that is a slippery slope, isn't it? The old Maria biscuits, which sneak into everything here, don't they? There's a pudding made of soggy Maria biscuits, isn't there, here in Portugal?
Yeah, even chocolate biscuit cakes made with Marietta biscuits. Yeah,
really? Maria. Yes, 14 Ks. Well done, Bobby. Reminds me of a fellow who went a year without drink. You're not drinking either, are you? You're not doing the booze at the moment. So there you go. He's doing that too. Paul, as hard as that might be to believe for yourself there. Could you do that, Paul? I wonder. We've, I think someone else came in who I didn't see there. But I think that was Aviva's comment. But absolutely right. It's all about the food, isn't it? And less of it, basically, as Bobby pointed out earlier on. Whole foods make it easier to manage a calorie deficit. I think that's a reference to the processed foods, isn't it? Those things get you, don't they, in all sorts of ways. You're not one to eat processed foods, Bobby, are you?
No, I never was. But that was always the problem too. I loved to cook. So I was always cooking and with pounds of butter and everything for flavor and blah, blah. So I had to stop cooking as well. I did a beef Wellington actually on Sunday, and it was lovely. But it was the first one in a long, long time. So how would you say it was nice to do a bit of cooking, but one of the things I had to stop was cook because I was cooking too much food all the time. So and when you cook it, you have to eat it. So.
Yes, definitely. And your beef Wellington is famous around the world, I think, isn't it? It's on those Rate My Steak or whatever cooking sites. I think. I mean, they're a hard crowd to please, but I think they loved your beef Wellington. Excellent stuff. Haydar DeMeo, can we have a little bit of an update from what's going on over there as well?
55 cubic tons of concrete poured yesterday.
Is that all?
The size of trucks. I've never seen one of those cement trucks that were basically like an articulated lorry. That's what the size they were.
Oh, really? You've got the big guns, as it were, right?
Yeah, they're big, huge things. Yeah, but no, it's going well. Like it's. I'm having a guy do a new drone video this week, just to show the update. Even in 1 month, it's huge acceleration. Like it's great to see it as well, you know.
Yeah.
So no, it's absolutely flying delighted.
That yes, that thing about building, nothing seems to be happening for ages, does it? And then it all seems to start coming out of the ground very quickly. And you're in that phase now, aren't you?
Yeah, like it's really noticeable now. And even with the sales office, people stop and buy every day. We've a lot of Portuguese are buying now as well, just from the fact that they can see that it's there, you know. So it's really good. It's really good.
Excellent. And that you're making a bit of a stir in the neighbourhood as well, because I know that's very important to you, isn't it, to make to have everybody aware of what's going on in their own neighbourhood as well, because that doesn't always happen with developers, do they? I mean, you know, they're headquartered elsewhere, they don't have much skin in the game, but you're keen to connect locally, as I recall.
Well, it was the whole concept was basically to join a neighbourhood and join a sort of a neighbourhood. Was rather than just create one, it was to join one as well, but bring something better to the whole area by adding a social aspect to our development that sort of included everyone else that was around it. So by bringing up the whole area, it was a lovely area already, but by adding in extra facilities, it just sort of, you know, it made it nicer for everybody. So with the paddle courts and with all those lovely little social things that are going on, it's for everyone. So yeah, we're very, very happy with the way the concept is coming out. So it's anyone who hasn't seen it needs to come down and see it now. If you're interested in property at all and in real estate, you should come down and have a look at it, because the whole concept behind it is really, really good.
Well, and part of that concept, of course, is the smart home and having a scooter available, for example, to pop 2 scooters with every home. Yeah. I don't think no other developer has said that before, have they? 2 scooters.
No, but the whole idea of it is that we have to put in the bike lanes as well, and you're right beside the train station. So the sustainability part of it as well is that you obviously have the solar panels with the batteries and the converters and all that kind of thing to run the electric of the house, but you also can have electric car which will run from the solar as well. But the idea is, because you're beside the train, you can decide that I'm going to scoot on down to the train 15 minutes into Campolide, or it's at Rioche, probably another 5 or 6 minutes, and take your trucknet and off you go, you know. So the idea was to give options, and you have options, because also the bike lane is going now from Herdal do Maio. It will reach to the beach as well. So yeah. So it's a nice little option to have, you know.
Love it when a plan comes together. How long ago did you have the vision for that is now being realised?
Well, it was a group of us, and I would say it was now 4.5 years ago. 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago.
Wow, that takes some patience, doesn't it? And some vision.
We've another 1.5 years to go to finish it.
Yeah. Fair enough. But it's tangible. It's real now, isn't it? And talking of electric cars and new methods of transport and how all of this is integrated into new homes, new law, apparently. You never know, do you, when you see a headline like this? Is it just like a PR thing that's come up? Is it something they're just running past the population to see how it goes down? But new homes must have electric car charging points. What do you make of this? I mean, do you think there are enough? You don't drive an EV yet yourself, do you? You're not an EV driver.
No, we're actually looking now to get a hybrid, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I like the idea of having an electric car for local runaround stuff, but
yes,
I still think that it's very early days to have a full electric car for me anyway, especially with the amount of driving that I do. Yeah. And I've had friends who have been waiting at fast charging stations for an hour for a 15-minute fast charge. So I find it difficult to stop for 5 minutes to put in diesel, never mind waiting an hour to out my way. So I don't think it would be safe for me to have an electric car at the moment to go a long distance anyway. But no, we are looking at the hybrid version of it as well. And actually, do you know what I saw out now? Not to get away from your question, I think actually everyone should have a car charging point regardless. When you're building a house, why not? You know.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say to you? That's my train of thought now.
Electric train of thought, I hope. Right? No, electric charging in homes. I mean, you make some good points, because that is Jetson visionary stuff. And then even with our mobile phones, you can never find the charger or the cable. One of the kids has run off with a cable. We're still not there yet, are we? with this stuff. That, you know, there is the theoretical brave new world aspect of it, and then there's how it really is on an everyday level. And the so-called fast charging that you mentioned there is over an hour. God knows how long the slow charging is. You have to book a room at the hotel if you want to do a slow charge on these things.
It'll end up being like the airport. You know what I mean? So you go in and wait, walk around, buy something. I love Coimbra.
What I like. So okay, so we trade in the convenience of an electric car for a whole new load of a different lifestyle where leisure parks are created that are built around car charging. That can't be right.
No, look, I think they'll obviously improve the infrastructure
Yes.
going forward. But the one thing that I looked at when we were looking at, because it's my wife that wants to upgrade her car, and was the price of second-hand electric cars are basically for nothing, you know. So it showed me that just nobody wants them. That's what I could see is that nobody second-hand one. Yeah. And also the incentives that are out there now at the moment to buy electric with the taxes and so on and so forth. Yeah. So they're very attractive to buy a new one. And also now if you have a company, I don't know if you know this, but if you have a company and you buy a car and you subtract the EVA, and if the car price less the EVA is under 50,000, you get the EVA back. Yeah. So that's a car that's 70 grand now. They give a discount off it now as well. Take off the EVA, it's now 4,999. So basically, you're buying a brand new car that was probably 70,000+ before for 50,000. Yeah. So there's all of the different car companies are all competing with each other. Range Rover, Volvo for the XC60, all like either electric or hybrid as well. So there's a lot of them competing with each other for that sort of area of cars as well. But I don't know. I still think I'd be hitting with the hybrid, yes, for sure. But for the full electric at the moment, I'd be hard pressed to.
You're holding back. Okay, so I take it you weren't at the electric vehicle show because that happened in Lisbon, I think, last weekend. Colin very kindly sent us this sexy footage. This would look good, I think, running around Haddad de Mayo or even at the around the golf courses where you are. Probably not on the golf courses. You might get shouted at for that. But I think I've got a little bit of footage here. Let's just see it from the electric car show. That's a bit annoying, isn't all that hooting inside the Altus Arena there? That's the Cybertruck. And now Colin clearly was very excited. I mean, see that shaky camera work? He was clearly very excited about seeing that vehicle. It's quite sexy, and it looks like it's made out of origami.
Yeah, I love Elon Musk, I have to say. I think he's brilliant. I love his vision. I love everything he's about, in the sense that he really gets and sets his mind to what he wants to do. And like, I was watching one of the things where he had one of his new Tesla and he was competing with a Porsche. You see the two of them running.
Yeah. I saw that, yeah.
But he was dragging another Porsche behind him and he's still faster than the Porsche.
Yes, so that's how he thinks, isn't it? Instead of having just a head-to-head race, I know I'll drag the competitor behind me as well as racing the competitor. Yeah. Incredible. So I don't know if that's legal, road legal now, but it was certainly at the show at the weekend. And is that your tip then to everybody? Is maybe to wait? And it looks like price-wise, buying second-hand EVs is the best thing to do, maybe.
I think everyone should look at it for themselves and what way they. But for me at the moment, the way we drive, like for my wife around locally, it might be a good idea. But I was more afraid of the drop in value and the resale value of them, if you like, because there is a lot of them for sale now on all the different car selling sites and so on at the moment, but everywhere, all over. And so just look at it from your own point of view, what use you're going to have and figure out if it's good for you, electric car or a hybrid at the minute. Think about the resale value, but also, the charging situations in your area and so on. Of course, if you have it at home, it's easy. We have a friend that has an electric and a diesel car, and they use the electric for the spin around town. And if they're going anywhere that's long distance, take the diesel.
Very good. The Cybertruck, yeah. So I was asking you to give advice there. We're not giving financial advice, nor are we giving vehicular advice. Do what is right for you. You're a grown up. The Cybertruck is badassery, and the Tesla corporation is offering 1% interest in the USA. Not sure if they laid off a lot of people. I mean, it's a very volatile industry to be in, as I think you've alluded to, and there's a huge Chinese manufacturing influence that's going to be difficult, I think, for the other manufacturers, the traditional manufacturers, to deal with. But we'll watch it with great interest about what's going on. Electric bikes, scooters are a great aid for the less mobile to explore, and that's true, isn't it? And a very good way of doing so. And governments, here he comes. There is a Yorkshireman's view on it. Governments will ask you to go electric, then change to hydro. Yeah, that's waiting in the wings as well, isn't it? And the circles begin again. Nothing wrong with a clean diesel engine, says Paul. You're nodding in agreement there, Bobby. There's probably some of that going to come up as well, right? Okay. And yes, of course, the government will be, I think, urging developers like yourself to have the charging points in all new homes. Urban operations involving the construction of buildings under horizontal ownership. That's such a quaint Portuguese phrase, isn't it? Horizontal ownership. That doesn't mean about being laid back about the residents association or other properties that have vehicle parking spaces must include an electrical infrastructure suitable for charging electric cars. And I think the associated fire prevention and tackling systems as well. Issue is an amendment made to the general regulation for urban buildings and a provision in the legal regime for electric mobility. So it looks like the government are all over it here. Love the comments inside the Portugal News and their articles. Architect João de Sousa Rodolfo recalls that from this year onwards, all residential buildings must have a charging station for electric vehicles per parking space. That's some serious infrastructure, isn't it? And then from Tom, I don't know if it's one of our Toms here in this community, but I wonder whether building that provide charging stations and allow the parking of EVs are also required to provide adequate safety precautions against almost unextinguishable fires by EVs. The latter have caused in the UK whole buildings to collapse. A bit of a doom-monger there, but I mean, he's got a good point. They need to be taking care of that as well. But generally speaking, right, something to welcome, right? This electric charging inside buildings.
Yeah, but I think there's a couple of points around as well. The infrastructure from your edge, the electrical infrastructure, there's a big debate about whether even the grid is up for, if everyone had a charger tomorrow, and everyone had an electric car, does it have enough power?
Right.
So that was another question that was around. Now, of course, not everyone's going to have a charger on an electric car straight away. So I think it will gradually have to, and they are doing a lot of work on the grid at the moment. So I think they're probably thinking ahead of when it is ready. So
yes.
I think but also I think the safety aspect is a huge part, especially in buildings.
Yeah, right.
I bought some batteries for one of the kids' drones the other day, and it has a battery charger, but the batteries have to sit inside this special bag to charge in case they burst into flames.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. Those were for laptops as well for a little while, weren't they? Where people were taking batteries out of things and putting them in those asbestos bags for flights and stuff. That didn't catch on, but they are around, aren't they? And it's a little bit chilling when you see that, isn't it? A little bit worrying.
Because I watched the video on how to charge the batteries, and then it was just put it into your flame bag, and I was like, oops, I can get one of them. So AliExpress got the
flame-proof battery charging bags. Well, that's a nice little business to go into, isn't it? One big enough to drive your car into of an evening, right? So is Ask Anything About Portugal, Say Anything About Portugal Wednesday. Can you ask Bobby his ideas on the robocar? And I was listening to a radio phone-in last night. I think this is driverless cars. Would you or wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think if the technology was there, I always say this, no matter how good a driver you are, you're only as good as the Egypt in front of you or that's coming towards you as well. So like you can have a robot car, but I think people like the idea of it. I can go for a few pints now and the robot car's going to drive me home, Yes. But when you take out the human aspect of something, and sometimes it's probably the best thing you can do is take out, like you see, I saw a photograph yesterday, guy flying a Boeing A380 or something, and he's asleep at the wheel because the auto. Obviously, the guy who took the photograph was probably the other pilot, so there was someone watching it. But
He's
everything.
fired. He hasn't got a job this morning, has he? The
Yeah.
second captain who took the picture of the sleeping captain
Yeah.
is probably looking for a new job this morning. After
I'd
he
say the
put
guy
that on
who's sleeping
social
is
media.
probably looking for a new job as well.
That's true. The pair of them.
But yeah, it would. I don't know whether it gives you confidence or actually it sort of puts doubt in your mind. The fact that they're so relaxed that they can go for a snooze in the cockpit, that or is it? Wait, why is he going for a snooze in the cockpit? You know, that kind of way. So
I think it unsettles the passengers. If he goes up to first class and has a lie down, that really upsets people.
Yeah, well, I've never seen. They have these little cabins that the pilots actually, because they're only allowed to fly for a certain amount of hours, and they have to have enough pilots depending on the length. But they actually have bedrooms. Well, they're not bedrooms. They're little pods basically, yeah, where they can go and sleep, and they can sleep. I think something like 8 people. Some of the bigger planes, yeah.
Really?
I've seen them before, yeah. And it's great to see.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. I'm glad to be at the back of the bus rather than seeing the captain in his dressing gown coming out waving to him. Like, how is everyone this morning? Well, I better get to it. No, I don't want to see that.
But I remember one of those things that doesn't open, like the catches that don't open. Like you have these pins, and one just an open is actually the escape hatch of the sleeping pod in the airplane. Yeah.
And the captain can drop out of there at high speed.
You can imagine he's walking.
I'm taking before you go, because I want to just talk to you about the this new banking transfer thing. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's a non-story, but that's probably a yes to robocars and driverless cars when the technology improves a little bit. You'll let other people guinea pig that, and then you'll get in the car.
Absolutely.
Right.
I would try and train it.
Yeah, it's going to be so weird, isn't it? And more jobs lost as well, isn't it? With taxi drivers, you know, it's going to be a strange old world we're going into.
Going to have plenty more mechanics.
More mechanics, less taxi
and panel
beaters. Okay, so retrain now if you're a visionary taxi driver.
I got caught yesterday. Taxi drivers. I got caught.
Well, here we go.
As a taxi driver yesterday, I had to go meet somebody in Lisbon, and of course, with my perfect Portuguese, the guy thought I was a tourist, and turned around and I told him where I was going, and it's a very famous place that I was going to, and he was like, "Oh, where's that?" You know, that kind of way. So I told him where it was, and he drove me there, and then I went to pay him, and I only had a €20 note. It was €4 something. So here, take 5. And the guy turns around, "Oh, I have no change." In Portuguese, no truck, whatever. And I said, "Then it's for free," you know. So
he found some change, did he?
I don't have any way to pay. I don't have any way. The next minute, I said, "Well, I'm not paying you €20 for a €4 car drive." And eventually, he opens the glove compartment and takes out his bank machine.
Oh, so, funny that.
Yeah, he was looking, and my mate that got picked up at the airport the other day, he got charged €28 from the airport to the centre of Lisbon from with the taxi as well. So,
oh dear,
so
watch
careful of these.
Yeah, and I really don't like it because it is such it leaves such a bad taste, doesn't it? Yes, and it's like that's why I think sensible countries and tourist boards crack down on that big time, because you don't want that as your first experience, do you? And people telling these sorts of stories around the world.
Exactly. No, and like I'm only saying it now because I think it's taxi drivers nearly the same everywhere you go. But if they can get the tourist, it's easy money, you know. Yeah. I got caught another day coming off the boat. Sorry, not the whole shop, but I got off the boat and I asked the guy to bring me to where my office is in Liberdad, yeah? And he brought me via Restelo. And like he brought me like way out, you know. And then when he got there, I turned around and I told him he could have come up the bus lane and I wasn't paying him for the ride. I said,
really?
Once. Yeah. I let him
what did he say?
Nothing. Oh, he said he followed the ways. That's the best way to, bullshit. But he was faking out, but he thought I was again a tourist. And I normally if I even book restaurants in Lisbon that are say where a lot of tourists go, I get a friend who knows all the restaurants to book for me because I don't want to get the tourist
treatment. Yeah, because there's probably a little tick that goes next to your name, isn't there? If they think you're a tourist, all the things wrapped in cling film kind of vibe are coming out, aren't they?
Yeah, those fish are a bit cloudy. Give that to the tourist, you know. So.
That's right. They'll be miles away when they've got their bellyache. Right, okay. We bought a plug-in hybrid and have been very happy with it. That's some feedback from Michael Barton there. And so if a business, I love it, Bobby. There's another video opportunity in here. The consumer champion, Bobby O'Reilly. I'm not paying you.
Yeah.
Then it kicks off from there. If a business parking lot is required to provide electricity for their customers, will they be pay for charge or free? And if they are free, will that raise the prices on the merchandise? Yeah, reflecting the cost of providing that
No, you pay. You
You
pay.
pay. Okay.
You pay. You have, like, there's a company now that wants to put in, I think, 7 fast chargers on our site, but they actually, it's a bit like, how do you call it? You know, like vending machines type thing. So
Yeah.
people will pay it with their credit card. You have a little card, swipe it over, and they give you a part of their profit for letting you put these things on the site, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
definitely will
Oh,
pay.
like
So,
like having a cash machine. It's
yeah,
a
that type of
charging
thing. Exactly.
cash.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Well, that's interesting. And so, yeah, for those, I think James it's a bit like when you haven't got kids and you feel like you're paying for everyone else's kids' education. He doesn't want to be asking for a friend who doesn't own a vehicle and uses public transportation. Fair enough.
Or the guy on the ground floor who's paying for the service charge that includes the lift.
Yes, exactly. Yes. For anyone who that hasn't occurred to, sorry to have ruined your day. I don't drive and plan on using a mobility scooter and an e-scooter when I get the nice one. It is having a cash machine. It's not like a cash machine. He'll be on in a minute. We've got a video between you and him, not because I'm trying to keep you apart. You two get on very well. We've marveled at that in the past. So optional paid parking then. James, yes. Just very quickly before you go, and before I play that video of a lovely project, Terrain Farm to Table, is celebrating the best Portugal has in terms of culture. The husband is a chef, she's a sommelier, and they do these sort of field kitchen things around Portugal. Love this idea, and I've got a little bit of an interview to play about that. But bank charges, this is changes to bank transfers in Portugal. Why is the banking industry such a dinosaur, Bobby? Why can't where you're paying the money to be verified there and then? This is something that bugs people, isn't it? You've got this, we live in the 21st century with the most cutting edge technology. And every time you put in an IBAN number or someone's account details, it's fingers crossed that it's going to turn up and you've sent it to the right place. Why can't that all be verified in real time and dealt with? It's like living in the age of the checkbook.
Sometimes the banking can be a bit confusing, and especially if you're not a fluent Portuguese speaker here. MBWay, everyone uses MBWay, etc., and so on and so forth. But I have multiple different credit cards for different companies, etc. And yesterday I had to go to the bank to ask the lady why isn't it working, and she couldn't tell me because they're not MBWay. I work for the bank. I don't work for MBWay. It's an app, etc., and so on and so forth.
Oh yes,
so she couldn't even help me, you know. But
wow.
I had to do transfers yesterday, and I had to go to the bank to do it, and I had to make an appointment to go into the bank to do it because they were outside of Europe, and
Nightmare.
it took me just under 2 hours to do them, between getting there, sitting there, and the values as well. She had to go get authorization, so you had to sit there. I couldn't even do them on a laptop at home or whatever. So you walk into the bank now, and there's a guy waiting to see what do you want first before you're allowed into the bank. So I don't know, but also nobody likes change, and all the banks are changing. So they're trying to do away with people. They're trying to do away with cash. I think they want everybody digitalized, where, you know, it's not just a salary thing. I think it's about, again, automated cars in the bank.
Digital life. It's your digital electronic life, isn't it? I mean, fair enough. I understand why they want to do that, but they're not making it very easy, are they? I mean, all of this can be connected in real time, and occasionally, when you're on a an ATM machine and you're paying a bill, it's great that you can put in the entity as entidad, so you know who it is and the amount and the reference. That's great technology, especially when it says it converts the entity for you and then tells you you're paying your local council or whatever. And then it says it verifies this as, you know, yes, we can do this for you because it's the right reference number for the right amount. That's great technology, isn't it? Because it triangulates itself. But it doesn't always work like that, and I'm wondering why that's so difficult. But anyway, we'll find out in due course. Hadn't imagined I'd be keeping you so long this morning. Thank you for being here, and see you at lunchtime.
Yeah, I'm jumping in the car now. my diesel engine car to get up.
Diesel engine driver car. Fantastic. See you later. Thanks very much. It's been great talking to you this morning. Catch you up. See you later. Cheers, Bobby. Bye for now. Bye for now. Okay. And a little bit of video now. Great to chat with Bobby there. A little bit of video, and then we'll bring Andy on, because I think Andy will like this as well. He is waiting to speak to us. I think he's at home. He doesn't look like he's in a vehicle, in a lay-by anywhere. He looks like he's on his sofa. Let's play a little bit of video. I won't play the whole thing. It will be on the YouTube channel soon, but this is Terrain. About Terrain, first of all, which is a business that you run with your husband, which looks fantastic. Not a restaurant, it's an experience. I think we're already
right.
you had us at restaurant, and then it got even more exciting with experience. So what do Terrain do? What do you do as Terrain?
Well, so our concept is a farm to table concept. So my husband is a professional chef and I'm a certified sommelier. And what we do is we gather people together around a big table, a giant table that seats about 24 people. And we offer farm to table dining experiences in the summertime. And we source everything locally from the local farms, of course, taking advantage of the wonderful local wines. We have great partnerships in our community. We live in the Bomberal area on the Silver Coast. And so we are absolutely spoiled for choice with great produce, great wines, great ciders, especially great fruit. Bomberal is known for the rock pear. And when it's in season, it's absolutely delicious. And so our dream was basically to find a property in the rural countryside in Portugal with views of the vineyards and the orchards, where we could create an outdoor dining area and welcome people of all different backgrounds, all walks of life, to come together and share a meal around a table. And it's as much about creating connection among people and helping people to make new friends and build new relationships as it is about the food and the wine. We always have a mix of both local Portuguese as well as foreigners, expats, and it makes for really interesting conversations around the table and just really magical evenings. So that's a passion project that we have in the summertime. So probably in about a month or so, as the weather starts to warm up in the evening, we'll start offering our events again.
How wonderful is that? I think the doc will be up for some of this. Let's talk to him now. Let's give him a nice big round of applause and bring him onto the screen. Hola, bom dia, tudo bem?
Hola, bom dia, tudo bem?
How are you? Thank you for combing your hair for us this morning.
Yeah, I thought I'd make an effort, you know.
You're looking shaggy, man. You look like a surfer dude this morning.
Well, you didn't see my post from earlier this morning. It was about half an hour before you started.
Really?
And so last night, courtesy of the eve of Leiria Day, because today is Leiria Day, right? So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, everything's closed in Leiria except the shopping mall and most of the bars probably, and the fair. But last night everything carried on until whatever time. I think I got to sleep about 3:15.
You legend.
And then a friend of mine thought they'd give me an early morning call an hour before my alarm was set. So if I look as if I've had 3 hours sleep, then I look better than I should.
Amazing. You're a rock star, mate. Because I thought I was a bit of a ledge myself last night, staying out on a school night until after midnight, and I had to be the first to leave the party, and I thought I had a good excuse, but I still got all the lightweight. Look, have another one. I had to face that gauntlet. But 3 this morning. So, Leiria, this is the big day of the year, then, is it? Or the big week of the year?
Well, it's the big month of the year because, of course, the Mayfair goes on all month in Leiria, because why wouldn't it? And Leiria Day is the biggest day of that fair, really, except maybe the opening and the closing. But the last night's fireworks went on for 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, just bonkers, but great fun, absolutely great fun. And the fair's fantastic. I mean, it's full of the normal stuff, lots of crazy rides and the Bombeiros and all the associations, local associations, and the business exhibitions and all of the different food stalls. But there's an Afghani food stall there now.
Like?
Yeah,
what's Afghani food like?
Well, a bit like a cross between Indian and Iranian, as you might expect. I mean, a lot of bread, quite spicy. I mean, I'm vegetarian, so I don't get to eat the meat, but the samosas were nice. The Afghani flatbread, which is a bit like a paratha, bhatura kind of thing.
Nice.
Lots of sweet cakes and stuff. Yeah, it was lovely, and lots of superbok, of course. So,
All washed out with Superbook. Fantastic. Good stuff. Now, you'll have seen that terrain farm to table concept, Sarah Krieger.
Yeah.
Can you imagine yourself at one of those? Sounds good, doesn't it?
It looks very good. I think I kind of made a mental note to myself that I need to try and remember to go on there and have a look. Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Our friends at Chumbaria are doing something similar.
Of course.
As a one-off tomorrow night, actually, in an Indian themed big table. I think there's about 14 of us going to be around the big table outside. They've
She's called Sarah as well, isn't she?
Yeah. So Sarah and Steve. Yeah.
Okay. Is it okay for me to put the link to that as well on the screen, or do you think that's fully booked? I mean, I think
it's definitely fully booked, but but you can put the link to Chumbaria if you've got it to hand, because it's a fantastic place. They're developing all sorts of things. They're doing a ceramics workshop this weekend. They did a bonsai workshop this week. They've got this this Indian thing tonight. They're really going. The only thing stopping them now from taking paying guests in their accommodation, their first 2 units of accommodation, is the fact they're still waiting for water and electricity supplies, which, as you know, you just have to wait until they suddenly arrive.
Quite useful as well, aren't they? They are quite useful, to be fair.
They are, yeah. It's all very well being off-grid, but if you can't flush a toilet and you didn't build a composting toilet,
it could ruin your stay. You can back up a little bit, let's put it that way. Morning to you, Erica. Good to see you. We've got the doc with us, Andy the Doc Thompson, former GP in the UK, among many other illustrious medical positions and civic positions over there, now living in Leiria, where he's clearly enjoying life. Until 3
a little much, maybe
a little bit too much. And we were talking about terrain at Bombarral. They're based at Bombarral, and they'll be having their events all over the Silver Coast area, I think. And you'll have seen Nuno on the screen. So great news. Nuno is joining us once a month as well. He's going to be having a residency soon, so it'll be great to have him on the screen. Won't necessarily be talking about insurance. He's going to be talking about his other loves, which include Sporting Lisbon, of course. Oh, and he had another theory for the meteorite, which I shall bring to the screen for you now. He'll be talking about the scouting movement. He'll be talking about electric vehicles as well. We've been talking a lot about electric vehicles. I think you sniffed a bit of profiteering with the electric vehicle thing. We'll come back to that. But this is the reason why there was a green meteor flying across Spain and Portugal, according to Nuno. Anyway, another
it's Sporting's version of the bat beacon.
Did you see it, Andy?
No, I didn't. No.
What, had you gone to bed at midnight? What's up with you?
No, I was probably watching some shit on Netflix, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah, whiling away the hours. Meanwhile, a flashing green light passes your window. A terrible week to be a pyrotechnics technician, I think, in Leiria, putting on a firework display when that's gone on just a few days before in the sky. But there you go. Tough job.
Be that into a cocked hat.
Now, I'm wondering as well, I don't know if this is a medical condition. And while you were talking about a month, I mean, Leiria, a month of partying every year, plus all the other opportunities to party that are national. What happens if you're Portuguese, given that this is Ask Anything About Portugal Day? And how would you advise somebody from a doctorly point of view? If you were born in Portugal and you didn't like music, food, and partying, that is going to be a miserable life for you, isn't it?
Emigrate.
Okay, fair enough. That's you can't write that on a prescription, though. I don't think, but that is good advice, no question. I mean, it would be tricky, wouldn't it, to be born into this culture and not be to not be very social and not to like partying. You can't.
Mind you, having said which, there's millions of square kilometres that are uninhabited, so you can always go and sit in the middle of the forest or
Be a hermit somewhere.
Yeah,
that's true. Actually, yes, because it is the party capital of the world. I don't care what anyone else says. You know, you've got your Copacabana and you've got Ibiza and you've got Goa, but no one does it like the Portuguese do, right? Up and down the country from around this time all the way through to Christmas, party, and they still work and live at the same time as well. They're legendary people, and it is the party capital of the world. You sent in, it is a cash machine when it comes to charging electric vehicles.
Yes.
What's your view then on EVs? Would you do you want?
Oh,
one?
I would absolutely. I would.
Right.
No question about it.
Right.
Bom dia, João. There's the thing is that if government are serious about getting to net zero, then actually they'd be looking at two things. They would be looking at subsidizing charging points so that those who don't live in accommodation with their own parking space and drives can have an electric vehicle and charge them at the same as it would cost them to use their own domestic electricity supply, because at the moment it's several times more than what it would cost if you plugged it into your wall at home. If you're going to use a public charger and you don't happen to benefit from Tesla's initial offer of free charging, I think there are still people who are on that scheme.
Yeah.
But also you'd sort out the public transport system, which they are, slowly grinding forward. But there needs to be much more investment in sorting out the public transport system.
Well said. Well said. And because of the new airport, we're hearing about the high-speed link to Spain again, aren't we?
Yeah.
Your eyes rolled.
The high-speed link to Spain is really important. The upgrading of the high-speed backbone in the whole of Portugal and the link north into Galicia is important.
Yes.
But sort out ordinary people's day-to-day public transport.
Yeah.
What's the percentage of people who live in Portugal who are going to be positively impacted by a new fucking airport and a high-speed link to Madrid?
I get that you feel strongly about this. Now, I know the answer to this. These local good transport infrastructure. It's not sexy. Politicians don't do mundane and useful.
I disagree. If you,
I'm not surprised.
So you can. I have been to places in the world where the local tram subway service has been an absolute gem in terms of accessibility and mobility. I mean, Porto's subway tram system is fantastic. It's fantastically accessible, and it's expanding, and that will help reduce Porto's emissions locally. Panama City has two fantastic, maybe more than two lines now, but a fantastic local subway network which extends from the airport, so it does help those who don't take those who do take aeroplanes, but it goes all the way through Panama City and connects with some of the working class neighborhoods. Everyone can use it to get to work or school or college. Dubai, okay, everything's sexy in Dubai if you worship money, but they have a great local subway system.
Singapore.
And I'm sure there are numerous others.
No, I agree with you completely, and with James as well. Better transportation is sexy for all these. Of course, great public transport is fantastic, but what I'm talking about is, in the modern age of career politics, you don't get much done in 5 years, do you? And you just do a lot of rhetoric and talk about big, sexy projects like high-speed train networks and where the new airport's going to be. You don't end up doing anything or building anything. They take a long time, don't they? They take a long time to do.
This is true, and it's interesting. I saw I saw the results of a opinion poll in Australia. This was surprising, but displaying. Sorry, I don't mean to be racist to Australians, but
watch out! Here we go.
An unexpected maturity. 70% of people in Australia wanted politicians to focus on more long-term developments and goals than short-term stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Really,
it's a political paradox, which I'm sure we've talked about before. If you want long-term political development and stability, you're often going for dictatorial systems, aren't you? That don't get overthrown by democracy.
Actually, I'm not sure that's right. I think we have hit what we've managed to do with 5-year terms and people who manage to develop, cultivate cliques. What we've done is hit the exact point of mediocrity.
Yes, right? Peak mediocrity. It's a contradiction in terms, almost, isn't it? The height of mediocrity.
The depth of mediocrity. So on the you have a spectrum, as you do in many things. On the one hand, you have extreme dictatorialism. On the other hand, you have extreme direct democracy. So if you could actually make each individual politician recallable instantaneously when they get found with their finger in the till or whatever, and we started to make tentative steps to that in the UK with the recall petitions. But if you could make politicians properly immediately recallable, then if you had an immediately recallable prime minister or president, that really doesn't help, because that serves instability. But if you have 600 members of parliament and they're all instantaneously callable on an individual basis, you're not going to suddenly find yourself with an unstable parliament. But what you are going to find yourself with is a load of people who are constantly going to make sure that they are representing the communities who they have been elected to serve.
Do their job, sort of thing.
Yeah, something like that. I know it's a remarkable idea.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, rather than join a dining club, Right,
okay, well, there you go. There's a break. Thank you very much for that. Right. Now, imagine yourself, if you will, in a toga, because this is asking anything.
I don't have to imagine myself in a toga. I've often been in a toga. I was a medical student.
Right. I imagine you were in a toga very often, so it's not a big stretch for you. And I'm happy to grab some.
Oh, it is now. I've eaten too much. But carry on.
Okay. I think you're staying on that sofa for the next few hours, aren't you? Right. So picture the scene. We are in togas now. You've got the right hair for it. That is quite a Roman hairdo. These are not very Roman headphones, but we are in the court now. Suddenly, the Roman, what's it called? The Roman Council, where you have the learned, the Senate. We are in the Senate, and Viriatus Veritas is speaking to us now. He's addressing. I don't know who Viriatus Veritas is, but I feel like I'm in the Senate suddenly, dressed in toga and sandals. Unpopular opinion, but true. Brits. Now, that's a controversial start to any sentiment, isn't it? Unpopular opinion, but true. It's already been decided. It's true. Brits that run from their island, that might be referring to us, Doc, are bounded to cowardice while they watch their country being invaded and sink. But they just watched and did nothing. How do you answer this call from Viriatus Veritas this morning?
With a gun.
Oh! That's not what I was hoping you would say.
In the end, no.
Sorry,
no. But I have an extreme visceral reaction to that.
Okay. Hence your gun.
So let me break this down.
Yes, go on.
I didn't run from my island. I was born into a Europe which was well, I wasn't born into a Europe that was drawing together, but I grew up in a Europe that was drawing together, was shrinking distances, breaking down national boundaries, which offered people of my generation the chance to travel internationally, to break down barriers between cultures, between East and West, North and South. I traveled from the east of Austria to Ireland, and from Germany to Italy and Greece and Portugal. I didn't think of myself as British. I thought of myself as European. I didn't feel that my country was being invaded. We had between 100 and 300 years previously invaded all the countries almost from which the so-called invaders were coming, and we had taught of them to see Britain as the mother country and the fount of democracy and all the rest of it. And then you wonder why people went to Britain. I had no problem with immigrants coming to Britain. I was welcoming, and I served immigrant communities as equally as I served non-immigrant communities. But put that quote back up again, because I'm really angry, actually.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Okay.
I didn't watch and do nothing. I tried to promote cohesiveness, integration, respect for different cultures. What happened was the cowardice of right-wing politicians who weren't prepared to actually accept the political reality internationally, and were not prepared to bite the bullet in terms of funding communities that collapsed through the deindustrialization process of the last 40 years. That was the cowardice. And instead, they played the race card, stirred up racism in those communities, and then used that to run from Europe, to pull me and my generation away from a shrinking and increasingly at the time more cohesive world. Added to which, it was 1990 when I decided that I was going to retire away from Britain. I enjoyed the warm climate in Portugal, and this is long before my stroke made me need to consider living somewhere warmer than Britain is year round. So that's my personal situation, but actually the reality of the people of my generation who left Britain before Brexit has nothing to do with running from mass immigration, and all to do with wanting to maintain our internationalism. And if you think it's cowardice to come to a country where you do not speak the language, you do not have any family, you do not have employment, you do not know how to access the health service or social security or anything else, then you really need to go and start to wake up and smell the coffee, man.
Very nicely put and well tempered there, I have to say, because I think you were going to say something else, and you very well managed the end of your sentence very well there. So there you go, Viriatus. We're very happy to talk about pretty much anything. That was veering towards the personal there, wasn't it? And I think you dealt with that from your point of view. You took it personally, I think, there, Andrew. And very interesting that I've never thought of it like that. It's not cowardly, is it? From that point of view, to come and take on all the things that you mentioned. I, on the other hand, I didn't take this personally. However, I just do feel guilty as charged. I don't mind being accused of running away from the UK. I did sort of chuck it in as a bad lot. I couldn't see a future for myself in the UK, and I have run away from it. I take that firmly on the chin. But I don't think it's cowardly necessarily. I think it's just a decision that I made, and I just thought, can I make an impact? Can I live a life that where I can that can be a balance of being a contribution to society and living a decent life myself? On this occasion, I'm going to have to be self-centered and think about my own prospects here. This isn't for me. Portugal came up, and I've moved here. And interestingly, what I think is very fascinating about this, that you've the stick in the hornet's nest this morning from you, Veritas Veritas, is that we are facing a situation similar to the one that the UK faced in the 60s and 70s, are we not? Where a colonial past and an integration of an entire colonial population is being managed as we speak here in Portugal. The same issues are on the table, aren't they? And, you know, lessons can be, I hate to use that phrase because it's overused and it's not true within political circles in the UK, but lessons can be learned from this phenomenon that's going on at the moment of the, a reunification. And I like the way you put it actually there, Andy. You know, you can't tell people that you are part of a great empire, and then when they want to come to the motherland and center of that empire, say, no, sorry.
Thank you.
Can't come. You stay where you are. Stay where you are. So you make a very good point. And that's what's going on for Portugal at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know, notwithstanding some horrors you hear about in the vast dynamic that is what we're talking about, this phenomenon here. Generally speaking, they're doing a pretty good job of it, I think, because it is a very difficult thing to manage. And there are things to address as well, for sure. So thank you for putting that on the table there. Oh, God, not think of yourself as British, although you had Indian. Do you ever feel as such democracy?
And what exactly does that mean?
Coward, right-wing politics. Do you still think vote will make a change? Well, I don't. I think Andy does.
No, revolution.
Okay, as a non-Brit, I really don't understand the emotion and animus surrounding Brexit. You had to be there. It's like a joke sometimes, isn't it? You had to be there. It mostly just seems to be bureaucratic paperwork changes that are more convenient to some and less to others. With 3 minutes to go, can you nail that, please?
Yeah, Joao, if Portugal suddenly decided to leave the EU and you suddenly had a hard border with Spain and all your imports from Europe suddenly cost 20% more, and your exports to Europe nosedived because it cost 20% more when it went through the border to Spain and anywhere else. I think you would understand the nightmare that Brexit was, and in that case, Brexit, if it would be.
Brexit, yeah.
No, you don't want it.
Brexit. And also, I mean, it was a proxy, wasn't it? Like so many things are now, where people don't feel represented. They take a political issue and don't think through the practical consequences, but feel the need through lack of representation and lack of discourse, lack of all sorts of things to just, okay, I'll stick an X on that and that'll stick it to the man. And now look, well put, Doc, says Squire of the Shires. And I like this, Paul. Thank you very much. Politicians never grasp the nettle. They just put it on a vase on the sideboard. Boom. And a few of my mates think I'm stupid moving to Portugal, knowing no one or no language. Addressing this cowardice point here, I think they are the daft ones, not following their own dream and holding themselves back. Very interesting. Thank you for that, Jackie. So a couple of minutes to go. Got a lovely video. Actually, I've got a couple of things I want to share with you. They are of a medical nature, really, and I want to get your view on them. And we'll finish with that wonderful video of Andy's house is for sale. Not this one. Buyer Andy's house is for sale. Lovely house in the Bairrada. I'll play the video for that at the end of the show. But first of all, do you remember your anatomy and physiology? Countries here in red call... Well, actually, let's start with the green ones, because that's where you and I come from, that little island there. The green countries have a word for toe. And look, the countries in red call toes the fingers of the feet. Oh, isn't that lovely?
Yes.
That's beautiful, isn't it? And here is Andy's dad, who's also over here. Not this Andy, by Andy, eating a torrada, the Jenga of breakfast tables, right there. And lovely to hear that Andy's dad is enjoying life here in Portugal. And the next picture I'm going to show you is out with Dad doing one of my walks yesterday. Then a well-deserved torrada. There it is, the big torrada Jenga there. 8K. He is 87 years old with 2 new hips. Now, there's a great advert for getting out there and doing a few steps if you can, right, Andy? You must be doing something, right? At 87, and some great medical technology helping him as well with the 2 new hips there. That's amazing. Thank you for your news stories, Owen. I'll pick these up in a later show in the rest of the week, because there is this risk of Portugal being out of Schengen.
Yeah.
software cock up.
That'll give you a taste of Brexit.
It's a Brexit foreplay or Brexit foreplay, isn't it? A little taster. And all those taxi drivers and barbers in Portugal who say to you when you sat in the chair, "Well done with Brexit, you English people." This will be a little taste of it, wouldn't it? You're absolutely right there. So there's that as well. And Portugal's summer 2024. Thank you, Owen, for this. Hotter than ever. We're going to be having a hot summer. They always say that. Whether we will or not remains to be seen. Last word to you, the Doc Andy, with your toga on and your sandals, addressing the Senate this morning.
Ave atque vale.
What?
Hail and farewell.
Okay, all right. And it continues with Viriatus.
Snobbish perspective. Never mind, Viriatus. You who isn't snobbish with his Latin name? Sure.
All right, you two. Poxit, no thank you, from James there. And that could happen in a way. Portugal's at risk of losing Schengen stretches. There we go. We just talked about that. And that's not going to be going anywhere. I'll probably talk about that again with Gilda tomorrow night on the Dream Team session. Lack of submitting proper... Portugal not submitting proper paperwork. What is going on here? Can't believe it. On that joyous note, enjoy your snooze. Just put a duvet over yourself. You've got a bit of catching up to do, I think, with a bit of kip there, haven't you, Andy? We're gonna. Thanks for joining us, mate. Great fun talking to you. See you again next month. Yeah, and bye for now. Here's Andy's house that you can buy.